Hey everybody. Yes, I know I'm lazy. I haven't taken the Canva watermark out of my intro yet, but I still want to work on it quite a bit. All right. Today I'm going to go over the just some things that Don Wells has said in some interviews that are really kind of off the wall. So I will let you know. Well, let's just put trigger warning with some things alleged up there. Okay, I'm going to turn my camera off. And we will get to rocking and rolling. All right. I'm going to mention it from the get-go. Charlie K's got a live schedule tonight. So I will definitely want to pop over there at 7 o'clock. Charlie's my guy. All right, here we go. These are just a few things that Don Wells has said that has really disturbed me in many ways. So we will start off with him speaking about his daughter, his oldest daughter. He said as soon as she turned 18, and I have the trigger warning up, I am going to go ahead and use the word. My channel is not kid friendly, and I don't expect any kids to be over here. So, hi Lips, what you doing today? You want to come up? Are you busy? You can come up and I can tell you all the horrific things that Don Wells has said over since Summer went missing. If you would like to, you're more than welcome. And I will let you know I will not be interrupted by anyone this time. That has been taken care of. Really? You're at an escape room? Wow. I've always wanted to go to one of those. I always have wanted to go to one of those. That is the coolest thing ever. Well, I'm glad you popped in. I appreciate it. Always appreciative of you there, Lips. What do you mean, why did Benny quit, Gypsy? What'd he quit doing? He quit the Summer Wells case altogether? Wow, I'll have to take a look at that. Let me tell you, Gypsy, I've been working on something, and I was going to save it till the end, but oh, quiet. Gypsy, you're so funny. But I've been working on something that has to do with 423 Chase that I'm getting a lot of information on, and when I finally can get it all together, I'm really excited to be able to share a lot of things with everyone. So all right, we're going to get right into some of the things Don has said that is out of this world. Okay, he spoke about his daughter. Candace said the other day she's done with YouTube again. Apparently, the farm channel hurt her feelings. Oh, did the cows in the field with the patties hurt her feelings? I can't never remember that channel name. So when I say that, I don't say it being disrespectful. Every time I think of that channel, I just think of cow patties for some reason. So shame on me for that. Oh, I see. I see what you're saying. Quiet because he can't get anything. Nice. Oh, effing cow farm. Yeah, those are that channel's pretty pretty far out there. Yeah, Gypsy. I mean, she gets mad and then she'll quit going on channels and then she'll pop back up on channels, and that's a never ending thing with her. I wonder if she doesn't have a little bit of and not saying this out of not being kind about it, but I wonder if maybe she's bipolar a little bit. And let me tell you, if you have a friend who is very high energy and they're wanting approval all the time, it can suck your life force out of you. And sometimes you got to kind of cut that tie and let it go. So that way you can get on with your own business. All right. Anyway, so he was talking about his oldest daughter, and he said that as soon as she turned 18 on her birthday, that she was raped. He said because at that age, the person who did it knew there wasn't anything that could be done about it. But he says she didn't go crying and draw attention and blah, blah, blah. His exact words, blah, blah, blah. She dealt with it, and he gave her props. Oh my gosh. Don wrote a letter on your wall, Gypsy? Or Benny? I'm sure it was Don. I can't say that. I don't know. I don't know if Benny would do that or not. Do you want to come up here, Gypsy? Lips is at a escape room place, and we'll see how long it takes her to get out. She may still be in there by the time I'm done. I'm just joking, Liz. Oh, you just took it as Benny leaving YouTube. That ain't going to happen. That Benny Keys will not leave YouTube. Oh, he left a fair. Really? Man, maybe I'll pull that up here pretty soon. And we'll see what it says. You got an hour to get out before the air runs out. Well, good thing that you're typing on your phone and you're not breathing. That is hilarious. All right, let's pop over there. Let me I don't want to mess myself up here. How do I do that? All right, let's just send me something. She does this to me all the time, Gypsy. She do it to you? Oh, is that the goodbye letter? Or whatever? Let me get it bigger. All right. Change of a little plan here. We're going to read this. This is from Mr. Benny Keys, 13 hours ago. I want to take a moment and tell any of you who are a light to someone and myself, you mean the world to me. This experience has been a lot. I don't leave in regret. I leave on a spiritual mission. I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh. A spiritual mission to rebuild myself after my time here. Everything happens for a very real reason. I care enough to walk away from this. I knew when I started this journey wasn't going to be forever. I leave feeling good about the level I kept it. Some may feel different, but I will miss me. Some may feel different, but I will miss me. Where are you going, Benny, that you're leaving yourself? Things that are meant for me will see me. I have had many great times with the people here, a lot of sad times that brought me to a place of understanding. Yes, Benny, you lost everything. You lost your wife. At some point, you lost your self-integrity. I will say that. Okay. A lot of sad times that brought me to a place of understanding. Understanding I don't understand. That is interesting. I'm okay with not understanding it. Benny. You should have hollered at me. I'd have helped you write that. Um, Understanding I don't understand. I'm okay with not understanding it. I'm also grateful that I am certain my time here is over. It wasn't for free. The cost was everything. A lot of folks have their COVID story that leads to right here. My story similar. I made a lifetime commitment and became fearful with the idea of being okay, wait a minute. I became fearful with the idea of being been locked in the house with her after a relative short amount of time. What? Okay, wait a minute. My story is similar. I made a lifetime commitment and became fearful with the idea of being locked in the house with her after a relative short amount of time. I got caught in my own selfishness. I thought that meant I don't love her like I thought I did. I did love her with enough for the lifetime, but I chose to walk away from what she walked away from because I isolated in my own depression. I have hurt people. I have been hurt here. Hurt people out of fear. I've been locked in many places and thrive with the structure. I never adjust to being here. Maybe I never tried. Oh, wait a minute. This is long, y'all. All right, wait a minute. Let me try to get to the next page. I don't want to mess it up. And then there's something. Is he talking about bullying lips? Is that okay? Wait, I gotta find this here because lips sends me different stuff. So, oh, here we go. All right, care enough to walk away. I never really tried or. Here we go. Why won't it pop up for me? Hang on. Bear with me, you guys. This may be the second page. Adjust to being here. Maybe I never tried, or maybe I gave up everything in pursuit of people's acceptance that I would never meet in my life. I don't know why I refused to bow my head and be what the internet turns people into. But I then realized that because I kept it real with me, because I keep it real with me, things miss me that aren't designed for me. I listen to many women tell their truths about being a survivor. This place has helped me accept that I too am a survivor. But as a 40-year-old man still suffered from the idea of what happened to me by the person who was supposed to make me great. It never occurred to me at the time to call the police. I suffered many years and poisoned myself to believe that I'd stay patient until I could take from him what he took from me, which was everything in the race between Jesus and myself. Jesus is always on time. There was a situation today that went across my head like a kitchen sink The reality of it stretched far past this place. The ones who have told me in my error couldn't see the ramifications of today and what has happened. I respect what may have been the ideologically, I can't even say that freaking word, of the issues of today, but the sickness is bone deep. It won't be washed off. It will stain more hands day by day. I should have asked for forgiveness in the beginning because I wasn't ever going to be sorry for being me, and I wasn't going to let the internet change me into something I couldn't recognize again. Don't ever accept failure when success is free. I have to create space to accept a blessing. I hope all of you out there find yourselves while you're trying to find these children. That would be, oh shoot, let me get back to it. That would be, okay, wait a minute. All right, let me try to get to this. I don't know why it pulls up on my phone like that. Okay. That would be what, okay, here we go. Blessing. I hope all of you out there find yourselves while you're trying to find these children. That would be what they call a blessing in disguise. I'm sorry there's no last live. It wouldn't have been what anyone wanted to hear. My ideas have changed with what happened today, what happened to today. And I believe that's one too many times to have the internet change the way you think about yourself or Dawn and Candace. How did I know that their names were going to be brought into this? I believe that's one too many times to have the internet change the way you think about yourself or Dawn and Candace. I can appreciate about myself that I don't come here to lie, and I didn't. I'm not perfect, but it was easy in the company here. I've seen and heard things that weren't for me to hear and see, and I can't undo them. I also can't let myself think it's for summer or that the internet deserves me or that any one of us doesn't have better things for our own existence and families. Some of the people I thought I respected the most ended being the designers of things that kept me coming back and screaming. I release you with nothing but love, but I release myself. God bless. Then there's a little thing down here that I believe the best thing you can do is tell the person, what is it? I believe the best thing you can do is tell the person, I really like you as a person, but I need you to make myself happy. But I need to make myself happy first. Oh, my, ladies. You know, bless his heart, the guy has been through a lot. He went up on a hill in Tennessee thinking that he could walk into that world and it be a world that he knew, that he was used to. Hey, Ruby. Yeah, I know you don't like him, Ruby. There's a lot of people who don't like him. But Benny Keys has done a lot of trashy stuff. I didn't really care for him, but I never talked about him, really didn't. You know, if I get to where I don't like what somebody's doing or saying, anything like that, I just stay away from them. I usually don't mention them on my channel because I'm like, the minute that you're having beef with somebody and you mention them, then people automatically go to their channel and, you know, give them views and stuff, and I just won't do that. But you're right, Gypsy. That's word salad, and it was hard to understand because, I was kind of, my heart was kind of going, oh my. But then he mentions Don and Candace. Why? Why do you mention Don and Candace? Why all of a sudden, after all this time, and him getting, now I'm going off track on what I was going to talk about today. Why, after all this time and all the crap that you did to all them people, it, are you going to go to the SDA church because they believe that you can shit on anybody you want and do whatever you want to people, and all you have to do is ask the Lord to forgive you, and then whatever you've done to anybody else is irrelevant. And I shouldn't have said that, God. You know what I mean, God. You know what I mean. So, yeah. I mean, what's he wanting? Who's he wanting sympathy from? From himself? It sounded like he was trying to understand what he was trying to understand about understanding the understanding. Okay, I better stop. Because one last thing he might do is come over here and try to tell me off. Which, I don't know. I don't know, guys. It's awful funny because didn't Ernie just do a video or something about leaving the internet and living his real life? And that's weird. That's really weird. I just thought about that. Ernie just did a video, I don't know how long ago it was, about leaving the internet and living his real life and making real money. But, Benny went up on 110 Ben Hill Road thinking that, his gonads wasn't going to get caught up, on that mountain. And he got up there and learned really quick that the domestic violence and, people coming up on the mountain at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, that is the pure fact of the matter. When Candace said they don't keep time, they don't keep time. If somebody comes up and knocks on the door or honks the horn at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, then, yeah, you're right, Gypsy. They do have more farewell tours than Fleetwood Mac. I love Fleetwood Mac. And I loved your little Michael Jackson tune, too. That was the first thing I thought when I seen it. I was like, I bet her husband sings out to her at karaoke. That was cute. But yeah, well, Benny, I would like to say that I have compassion, because I do have compassion, and I do, even though I've seen some really bad things that you've done and said, I've seen some good things you've done too. So, but I'm sorry, I don't think that a lot of us are going to be that affected by you leaving. I'm just curious though, okay? Because I did a live. Now I'm going way off my topic here, and I'll get back on it in a minute. But I did this. I'm checking into Brad Wishon deeply, okay? And I told a story about an incident that happened in my hood, okay? And then all of a sudden, Don Wells comes out and said he's known Brad for many years, okay? Now, the interview that he did on Smiley, and I wrote it down, he said that 423 Chase is a good dude. He's got cancer. We already know from his ex that he doesn't have cancer. And if he does, then forgive me, okay? Just forgive me. but she said he didn't have cancer. Don said he's a good friend. Said he did everything said he was going to do about the billboards. And he didn't rip anybody off. He worked really hard for the money to take care of that. We all know different, okay? We know the story. It's been out there for how long? Too long. And so, I'm really getting into quite a few things as far as that goes. Also on the Wells Family Channel, there's a video of Dawn thanking everybody about the billboards and stuff. And, while I'm talking about different people, Smiley's World, I like you. I do. But when you talk to Don Wells, did you slip in there that you called his father who had dementia? I bet you didn't. Huh. I just happened to find that in my notes. Remain calm. Can find anything in her notes when I look through my notes. Okay. Now that I'm kind of been a bitch, anybody else have any complaining? Let me know. I will get it out there for you today. Today only. One time sell. Okay. Let's get back to it. Because let me tell you, going through what I was kind of looking for as far as things that Don Wells has said, by the time I was done with most of it, and I don't even think I found every rotten thing he said, but I was pretty disgusting. So, okay, I talked about his older daughter being raped and what he said about that. I was disgusted. Disgusted. Another thing that he said was that, talking about Summer, somebody has hurt her, probably sexually, maybe beat the fuck out of her, probably killed her. Really? Really? Why would you, and I'm repeating it, so I guess that makes me a bad person for repeating it. But I have a purpose for doing this, okay? So he goes between harming a person who might have done this and leaving it to God because he knows what prison's like and has mercy for anyone who has been to prison. Saying, you're lucky if you get out of there alive anyway. Saying, as far as seeing this person in prison, I don't know if I can do that, to be honest. It just depends on the circumstances. Now, I will give him credit. When he's drunk on alive, he'll say that he wants to unalive the person. So that's him going, kind of going back and forth. So, can I I could see him saying he has hope, but to not supposedly know what happened to your daughter, and because you've been to prison, maybe he was thinking along the lines of, if it was an accident, he could be more tolerant, is the only thing. And I'm even trying to give him a little bit of credit here, okay? I mean, the guy is just mentally fucked. And if I say the F word today, it's because I like that word. And I don't say it a lot on my channel because I try to be prim and proper. But, today's one of those days. Don said he always knew something was going to happen to Summer. He just always knew in his gut that something was going to happen to her on Candace's watch. If you know and have a gut feeling that something's going to happen to your daughter, and you've had that feeling for years, she was 5 years old, And in your mind, you thought that it would always happen on your wife's watch. Why would you not make sure that your daughter was with you? Like when you went to Utah, um, you know, she had aunts there who would have helped take care of her. And you have to remember that Mary said that he didn't even like Josie to go in the house, in his dad's house or anything, um, which was really, really strange. But now, I always said and truly believed that the boys were Summer's keepers. Don would get frustrated saying that they were glued to the TV and their games. They fought each other like normal kids, would leave the doors open, would leave Summer outside, and they would say, "Where's your sister? Go outside and get your sister." My mind, I'm thinking, get your fucking asses up and go get her. Why you put it all on the boys? The door was locked. The door was unlocked. Who knew? Who knew what that door? It could have been standing wide open. You know, I get frustrated with Don acting like he knows the story, but yet he was at work and wasn't even home. And ask any significant questions about his kids, what they like, what they don't like. I watched the interview. He couldn't even say what her favorite piece of candy was, and Candace couldn't either. And he also made a statement of taking her to Walmart and Target and buying her toys, but for some reason, she left them in the truck. Would a little girl who went somewhere like that and got new toys or even anything new, do you honestly think the Summer would have left those in the truck? I don't see, I'm sorry. I do. If I bought my daughters are older. If I bought my granddaughter a toy, it wouldn't be sitting in the vehicle. I can tell you that right now. And it just seemed like Summer didn't have a lot of new things. That a lot of things she did have, Candace said she brought from yard sales and things like that. And she loved her daddy so much. Why would Summer have left a toy or something that he got her special? Because they would go to these places by themselves and he wouldn't take the boys. But yet he said, "Oh, the boys, they understand." Okay. Hi S. Thanks for coming in. Don don't allow God. Oh, Don don't follow God. I'm so sorry, I read that wrong. Notice when Summer went missing, folks, Summer solstice was following Saturday. Why does he always say he'll see her in the resurrection? I'm getting ready to go over that also. He also called Candace to report in front of H there was someone on the property trying to touch on the kids while he was supposed to be at work. How did he know that? Was that part of the script? Now, let me tell you something about that, okay? Excuse me. Supposedly, when Don called Candace with H in the car and Grandma and Summer, she asked them to be quiet, okay? Why? Why would she ask them to be quiet? Was Summer being a little loud, or, I don't understand why she would think that she would have to ask to be quiet. So yes, Don always had a feeling that something was going to happen to Summer on Candace's watch. I felt the boys were Summer's keepers. I think that when they were outside and things, that they were responsible for her. And Don and Candace made it like that. And I think that that put a lot of guilt on those boys when she went missing, which really pissed me off. Because why? You know, Don didn't hesitate to throw the boys under the bus about the situation. That always upset me. Um, he also said the boys were dealing with it better than him and Candace, saying he doesn't know why that Summer loved to be outside and felt it was her downfall. That always threw me off too. Being outside, loving to be outside is your downfall. Also, let me find what I'm looking for here. Okay, Dawn said Summer only wanted him from the time she was born until around 18 months, saying she didn't want her mother, she only wanted me. He couldn't believe Summer only wanted him, saying he never had anyone love him like that. Candace didn't love you like that? You didn't love your wife who you had 4 kids with like that? Weird. But he is weird. She would say, Daddy, I just want to be with you. She had to be by him. Just had to be by him. She loves him to death. They had such a great love for each other. She loved him and he doesn't know why, saying, I've never had someone love me that much in my life. And so it's been awesome between me and her. Now, I don't know what I want to say about this isn't a good thing. Dawn's words are just messed up. Dawn's got some messed up words. Do we consider it uneducated? Yeah, I mean, we could. Can we say that maybe he doesn't know how to speak on his own emotions? But I've said from the beginning, when I first heard him talk of Summer, call her a young lady at 5 years old, she was a little girl. She wasn't a young lady at all. And the thing about Candace saying that she never, when Ernie told Candace about Don saying he took showers with Summer, Candace acted like that, you know, she couldn't believe that. She couldn't believe he said that. So, weird. Really weird. And like I said, the boys were Summer's keepers. I truly wholeheartedly believe that. I wrote that in the Appalachian Princess that I wrote the first year that Summer was missing, and I wholeheartedly believe that, and I still do. All right, now let's talk about what he said about the little girl in the park. That was Allie's daughter, allegedly. And Dawn talked about her like, well, let me just tell you what he said. She had a body from hell. He's seen guys hanging all over her. He specified their race. And she was going to be pregnant before you know it. Now, he's saying these things and then had to ask Candace how old the girl was. She was like 12 years old. 12 or 13. I would have hoped she would have been one of Allie's children that didn't go up there and hang out. Because I don't believe he was talking about True. I think Allie's got another daughter, if I'm not mistaken. All right, this is a statement that really, really bothered me, and Don said this really early on. He says his daughter's is on the streets right now, somewhere, and no one is listening to him saying this while on the phone with Mary, saying she is in a effing motel room somewhere with a effing weirdo with some mother effer trying to sell her for a little bit of crack cocaine. He says, I know how it works. Somewhere holed up in an effing hotel room. Mary told him to stop letting his mind go to those places. And he said, I've already been there. I've seen it. Saying, I've seen it with my own eyes. Now, in a different, I can't remember if it was the same conversation or a different conversation, but somewhere along the line, his explanation for that was that throughout his life, he had actually seen that happening, okay? And said that now he's older, he could see it for what it was. I don't know how old Don was when he supposedly seen this going on the first time. I believe it was in California, he said. Not when he went to see Dr. Phil, it was a different time. So, you know, Don's been around to many, many states. His life is criminal. You know, he's done some bad things. Now, the night Summer went missing, a neighbor reported, and I seen the neighbor. I didn't personally see him, but I seen him when he was talking. So I can say I will throw an alleged out there, but you know, this is what the man said: that the night Summer went missing, Don showed up on the man's property and talked about seeing Summer in the resurrection. And Don basically believed that if he would stick to the 10 Commandments and does what he's supposed to do, he said, I will see her. Now, that conversation was weird because he said, I will see her in the commandments. I think he meant resurrection. But then later on, just not too long back, he talked about the reason that he talked about the resurrection and things like that was because at the time he was going to church. And it was weird because he was like, you know, at the time I was going to church and following their beliefs, and you know, that's the reason why he was talking that way. But then again, with Robin Lane, who was big in the church also, when someone tried to get her to do an interview, she decided that she wanted the pastor to be there so he could let whoever was interviewing her know why they believed what they did in that religion, which threw me off because I'm like, wait a minute, you don't even have a basis to be able to say what your beliefs are. You have to have the pastor there to guide you in that. That really threw me off. I mean, that's just me. I know other people, you know, are good with it. And Don also said his biggest fear is her being tormented or locked in a dungeon or a basement or somewhere. He says, statistically speaking, there is a good chance she is already unalive. And I just want to let everybody know, when I decided to do this, I kind of, I almost didn't do it. Okay. Because I'm repeating what he said, and that bothers me. But I want people to know what he has said, and I'm going to keep going because there's a lot more. I kind of want people to listen to the different things he says and see if it doesn't bring out oh, thank you, S. Come back anytime you want. Into God 666. Don Williston. I think Don and some others are actually occult followers. It's all there. If you read between the lines, I also came across one of these emails a year ago, and the username was Into God 666. Oh, Into God 666. Why would he put a 666 at the end? Yeah, Don doesn't have a normal brain. He really doesn't. I think he should have got help a long time ago. Ruby, if you're still hanging out, you can come up, girl. I'll drop the link. I don't care if you want to come up or not. I'm gonna finish some of this though, and I know Charlie's got a live later today. I want to make sure that I get to that, so I'm gonna kind of go through this pretty quick. Okay, another thing he said was someone could have taken Summer for sexual gratification or to unalive her, saying that if that was the case, she would be far away from here, meaning far away from 110. He was asked about Candace's mom. He said he was sick to death of hearing it. He was asked the question so many times. It had to do with grandma leaving right away and things like that. But grandma had already been through that with Rose, so she knew exactly what was coming because she had went through it all with Rose, and so she already had a taste of it. So I already said he called Summer. This is something that may not sound like anything or whatever. Oh, I don't care, Ruby, if you're just laying there and you can come up anyway. All right, Ruby.
Hey.
All right, are you catching what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've just been laying here. I'm still not feeling well.
Not. Ruby, I'm telling you, I was sick in January, and I was having trouble with my breathing and it took me a long time to get to feeling better.
Well, if it's not my blood low again, then they're going to have to figure out something because something's not right.
Well, I'm surprised that they don't go in and give you like supplemental vitamins and stuff. Don't they even check to see like if your different levels are out of whack?
They do, and I mean, I think all they do is just bill the insurance. I think that's all they care about. Yeah. I mean, some of the stuff I'm still complaining about, I've been complaining about for I don't know how long, and stuff gets kicked to the curb, and I'm just. Well, eventually you keep asking for somebody for help and they just keep ignoring you. You're finally just going to quit asking.
Yeah, because, I mean, if they're giving you blood, I cannot believe they have not sent you to a hematologist.
Well, she's going to set, she said now on this last visit that she's going to set me up with the hematologist, but who the hell knows when that'll be.
Yeah, the bad thing about it is, see, they'll say that, oh, we're going to send you to the specialist, and then sometimes it takes months and months to get into the specialist.
Exactly.
I mean, it's just ridiculous.
No, they need to figure out now what in the heck's going on. I'm tired of this crap.
Well, I figured I would just go over some of the stuff that Donna said, and, because this whole time it kind of tells a story, I think. Some of the things that he said. Now, I do know at one time, Candace was talking about Robin, and Candace adored Robin just as much as Summer did. And they were having a conversation, I think it was with Ernie, and Candace made the comment that Robin was her best friend, and Dawn went off. And he said she was Summer's best friend and told Candace, and you remember that. And I'm like, wow, I couldn't believe it.
I never knew he said that.
Yeah, because, and especially at that time, I was like, well, he's kind of pushing at the time the only friend that Candace really trusted. Besides Kathy, she had a girlfriend named Kathy. I don't know whatever happened with that, but Kathy was good to her while Don was in jail. So, and also the guy, Don, slept with a woman on the futon bed with the kids up there. That woman's name was Crystal. Crystal came online and even admitted to it and said that she had some stuff at the time. That stuff.
There's been a lot of very, very unhealthy things that seem to have gone on around there that was no good environment for any kid to be in.
Well, I don't think it was a good environment when Dawn was there, and I don't think it was a good environment when Dawn wasn't there.
Right.
Because, they said that Candace would have anybody up on the hill. And, I really didn't take a lot of what Allie said as fact, but she talked about Candace meeting a guy at the dollar store or something and bringing him home. And supposedly he was up there for a couple of days. But like I said, I kind of took a lot of what Allie said with a grain of salt because, for some reason, she just went from her and Candace being together all the time to not liking each other at all. Well, I don't want to say Candace didn't like her because they even said that, Candace would go by Allie's mom, Sherry's house.
Yeah.
And, Candace was trying to talk to Allie at different times and Allie wouldn't talk to her and stuff.
Well, I mean, she let H go with them that day, So, but I mean, when she went during that, I believe it was during the Chris McDonough interview, she said, things like, I think it was something like when she came and picked Hunter up, I don't want to talk to her. I ain't got nothing to say to her or whatever. But then when they dropped him off, she said that she attempted to go out to the truck to, say hello to Summer, but Candace said, no, she's asleep. Don't wake her up.
So
who knows?
Well, the only reason I didn't kind of buy that was because you don't want to talk to her or have anything to do with her, but then all of a sudden they're going to drop Hunter off and you're going to run out to the truck.
Well, but then she was talking to her at some point that night. I don't know if it was on Snapchat or what social media form it was on, but she was talking to her later that night after she had called. I believe she called
Yeah, she called.
Agent phoned around 7 or 7:30 and said Summer's missing, and then
But she didn't call. Allie didn't call her back until later that evening.
yeah, and
Quite
then she
later
didn't even
that
actually
evening.
talk to her on the phone. I think she was talking to her. I want to say
On
she said she was talking to her via
Messenger
Snapchat,
or
but
something.
I
Yeah.
can't be sure.
Well, and the thing about it is, from the get go, if you listen to all of them, and I even got this watching Robin
Hmm.
when Summer went missing, and Candace called to let everybody know, they didn't believe her
Yeah,
because she had gotten drunk and smoked a couple and forgot her kids before. Didn't know where they
yeah.
were. They were outside the whole time.
I
So
believe
they,
I heard Robin say, and I just recently saw this interview with Robin because, I told you I missed out on some of the early stuff, and then some of the stuff has been on people's pages that I don't, or on
you,
people's channels
yeah,
that I don't follow. But when I found this one video that someone had done a compilation of a whole bunch of different videos. I did see an interview with Robin where she said that when Candace first started calling her, she was busy with her daughter, I think at dance or gymnastics or something,
he was at
and
a practice for a dance recital.
yeah, it wasn't
And
answering the phone. And then I believe it was David Dodson called her and said, hey, Candace has been trying to call you.
yeah,
Summer's missing.
supposedly it was this is and I in my writings I have a whole chapter about Robin. But I guess the thing that kind of threw me off on that whole situation was because um, it was around 7, I think, when David got through. She was in the car going home. David got through to her, and then Candace called.
Yeah.
She answered it because she said Candace was going off and saying stuff, and she had her kid in the car, so
Yeah.
she was trying to kind of take care of that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
he goes home and gets snacks,
Yeah.
a couple flashlights.
Yeah.
Doesn't even get there for 2 hours or more.
Yeah. She didn't get there after dark.
David Dodson had already been up on the hill, and I don't know if he came down to meet Robin or if the cops made everybody get off the hill or what, but she ended up meeting up with him down there, like,
Yeah.
I want to say like at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then because she mentioned asking them if they had a picture, law enforcement, if they had a picture of Summer, and they didn't. They didn't have a newer picture of Summer. And that's what kind of I questioned also, because I'm like, you just supposedly did that video with her against the milk jugs. Why didn't you give them that picture?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why did you
Because that was, if she was still wearing those same clothes and everything, that would have been the most accurate picture of her. This is her.
I was just looking. I've got, and I can tell you, because I've got CM and Don's interview right here in front of me because of some of the stuff he said. He said he was not sure what Summer was wearing, having just woke up, and they stayed in bed and he got gone. But the clothes she was wearing while asleep on the milk jugs is what she was wearing when she was kidnapped, saying he didn't think she changed after coming back home. And it was her outfit for her day at school. The outfit had sentimental meaning to Summer. And talked about he didn't know if Summer picked it out because he worked all the time or whatever. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Well, supposedly Grandis bought that outfit, and it just happened to still be in the truck, and so they changed her into that after getting out of the water and stuff. But it's never really to me, it's never been really made clear when they changed her into those clothes after swimming, because
because
everybody's stories are so different. You can't make sense of anybody's story because they're all different.
They would have had to change her clothes out at the swim hole.
Yeah, that's what they would have had to have done, because she had them on. If Allie says that she tried to go out to the truck and say Summer and to say hi to Summer, and Candace said no, she's asleep, then that's
but you have to remember, because H also said that Candace put Summer in her swimsuit that morning at his house. So that was always questionable to me.
Like I said, everybody's got a different story, and excuse me, nobody's story matches up.
No, they don't. None of their stories adds up. So then I got into this call with Ernie, and I think I went over it on a different live or something. But
I heard, but I can't swear on it. I want to say that the jacket Summer was wearing to that little jogging outfit was still at the house.
I would have thought the whole outfit would have been at the house, because number one, if by the time they got home, I for some reason in my mind, I'm like, that was her school outfit, and it was the only thing available to put on. Why would you leave that on her after she got home?
Right. Especially to be, messing around in the dirt and planting flowers or cactuses or whatever they were doing.
I know people are like this 5:30, 6:30 timeline, and I'm going, you need to back it up, because we honestly do not know exactly what happened after Hunter got dropped off. We do know Hunter got dropped off because law enforcement hadn't hid that fact.
Right. Yeah, he was dropped off at 3:00, and honestly, after they took that picture of Summer asleep on the milk jugs, I can't verify. I can't believe nothing that anybody says happened.
The interview that Duty Ron did, and he had this forensic lady on there, and she said that she studied all the pictures and different things of that video, and said that Summer was alive. She couldn't tell if she was drugged, but everything, pointed to her that Summer was alive in that.
Well, so, I can say that. I was in the room with my ex-husband when he died, and he was really, of course, he was sick too. He was very, very sick with kidney failure and all that kind of stuff. But he was like a pale grayish color.
Right.
And Summer doesn't look like that. She just looks like a kid that's just, conked out asleep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what me too. But like I said, nobody knows if maybe she was drugged a little bit or not. I know that they did talk about the orange soda. And where they got the orange soda, they did.
Yeah, nobody can give a straight story as to where that orange soda came in. And is that Skittles that are in the seat that may have got spilled in the seat?
Yeah, supposedly. I don't know. I think she said that candy had been in there a little while or something, or but the orange soda actually supposedly belonged to Grandma, which kind of made me think, because I'm like, wait a minute, if that was Grandma's orange soda, but yet you got her a twisted tea, but yet you went and got slushies. Okay,
Yeah.
that's a lot right there.
Well, I
So,
mean, when you're out and about during the day, you know, like that, drinks get hot and you stop somewhere and get something fresh to drink. And I mean, I've done that.
well, I would hope that because uh, my point was they were at the where they got it. Supposedly, they had the CBD drinks, you know. So
Mhm.
but that
Well, it
bottle,
wouldn't surprise me a bit, you know, if Candace bought him one of those twisted teas and bought him a vape, you know. I mean,
that wouldn't surprise me either. And I
yeah.
think that only reason that she, you know, because even the first interview she did, the twisted tea, um, she said she got for her mom, and she made a point to let everybody know, which I thought was weird, that
Uh,
place was nasty. It had cans and twisted tea cans all over the place, and I'm like,
uh-huh.
you're describing this place as somewhere where why would you take your little girl swimming there?
Right, right. Yeah, I think she was just trying to worm her way out of admitting that she had bought that for him,
I
and
think
like I
so.
said, probably bought him a disposable vape too,
And I
you
think
know, because he's
people.
underage and it's gonna make her look bad, you
Right.
know. But
Well,
I mean, it is what it is.
this threw me off too because when H's dad was asked if him and Allie were going to file charges against Candace, he said, and he said this,
Hmm.
not up to us, it's up to Hunter to tell them what, if anything had ever happened. And I thought
Yeah.
he,
Well, I've not ever listened to. I listened to him one time, and I think it was because he maybe came on somebody's live that I was watching or something, or was in the chat. I don't even really remember.
this
But
is the,
I've not paid attention to a word he has said. The
yeah,
only reason why he came into things is, you know, for his 15 minutes of fame. He don't know what happened that day. He don't wasn't there. He, you know,
well, we just
he just
don't
came
know.
in to get his 15 minutes of fame.
I just, and I know some people believe that, but I think under the circumstances, the way he came down there, the way he left, the things that he said, he brought Jose with him, who ended up staying. Um,
Hmm.
you know, he Jose was with Allie. Um, he made it out like him and Allie really didn't have any type of relationship, but obviously
Right.
to come to the place where she was to try to move there. I mean, there's something weird there. There is something.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of, like I said,
Yeah.
there's a lot of weird and unhealthy and
Well, I mean, Ruby, you got to
stuff
look at
surrounding the whole 9 yards of
you.
it, you know.
You've got Allie who came finally started coming on YouTube. You got Andrew, her one night
Hmm.
produced Age coming on YouTube. Then you got Jody Sue coming on YouTube, and then
Hmm.
her not together person anymore is coming on.
Hmm.
His new
Yep.
fiance coming on YouTube. It was a money grab.
Oh yeah, it was a money attention grab. Yeah,
So,
exactly. And everyone has gotten their 15 minutes of fame and everyone has gotten their money off of it and everything. And it's just, you know,
well,
it's just a sad situation because we still have not found Summer, have no clue as to what happened to her or where she is,
well, that's
you
like
know, after everything.
that's like the person I call KK. She is. on here just like everybody else trying to figure out what happened to Summer. Because I
Yeah,
don't believe she knows, because I think if she knew, she wouldn't
I
be on
don't think
YouTube.
she does either.
She wouldn't
What
be
I
on YouTube.
do believe is I feel like she does know a lot of shit that's gone on that hill and stuff, and
Now,
I
see, the
mean,
last thing she said that kind of got me was when she talked about that Andy knew that Summer was being uh, abused and things like that. And I'm like, okay, wait a
yeah,
minute. If you know that Andy knew that, then you knew that.
exactly,
Yeah, that's
exactly.
common sense. And with her, a lot of times, you just have to look at what she says and use a little bit of common sense. She
Yeah,
knows that people listen to her and hang on her every word. They just don't use common sense when they're doing it.
right.
So if you use a little common sense and listen to some of the stuff she says, it's like ridiculous. Just
Yeah,
ridiculous. But, Candace said that she called her a crazy psycho bee, and said she just wants to make herself relevant, and told
yeah,
Ernie to stay away from her BS. She said,
yeah,
and this is funny because Candace used to say this about people. She
yeah.
said, she's a kid missing her toy out of a Happy Meal box, is what she used to say. I think she said that about Ernie one time too.
Yeah,
But then Dawn also made the comment, and this is in the same. This was with Ernie when he talked about Summer being worth her weight in gold. He said someone has hurt her, probably Etsy actually, maybe beat the crap out of her, killed her. Let's be realistic. Ain't gonna be good. And because of all the pressure of YouTube and all the TV shows and everything else, they probably wanted to get rid of the evidence, and they
yeah,
probably arrived her. And
yeah.
so that was one of the things that he said. And he kept saying that someone ran up there and took her out of the basement.
I
He
don't
swore,
believe that.
somebody came up there and got her and took her out of the basement.
Nah, I
They
don't believe that.
That's the whole thing about it. How would he know? How could he just guess at that? One interview, he said the door was locked. The other one, he said the door was unlocked. I mean, that's always been a contentious thing that I don't, how could,
Well, if everything happened the way they say it happened, it was a very short time frame they had to, take Summer and get off that hill without Candace or Grandis or the boys or anybody seeing them, and get away with her.
I
It was
would have,
been there's a very short time frame. That's why I either think that if someone did take her, then she was out of Candace's sight for a heck of a lot longer than a few minutes,
yeah.
or
But you gotta,
it's just all a lie.
um, you
All of it
know,
is a lie.
the eyesight from where Grandma's trailer was in the back door, you really
You,
couldn't see from that side of the house. But
well,
the
yeah,
thing,
what I can tell you, can
no, well,
if she had been out, if she'd if she'd gone out to her swing, I've looked at it very carefully and viewed things from all the different angles, and I would think that she would have had to have seen her,
question is,
seen
yeah,
somebody.
if she was if she was there, well, that's the bad thing about that area. And even in a regular wooded area, you can be standing there for a long time without anybody even noticing that you're standing there. And
Yeah,
somebody could have been standing there behind that bus, or you know anywhere.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, there's lots of places for somebody to hide and everything, and but again, we get to, okay, if Summer was taken, then why? Why?
Well, that's where we run into,
You know,
what
what
somebody
has Dawn
really
or Candace done to someone, you know, that would cause someone to want to do something to take, you know,
that's
their daughter? Why did they take Summer? Why didn't they take one of the boys?
why a
You
lot
know,
of people
why?
think
There's all these questions of
a
okay,
lot of
if
people,
you believe somebody took her, then why? It had to be somebody close to her in her immediate circle that she would have known, that she wouldn't have screamed or anything like that. And you know,
well, I mean, that area and all the RSOs, and then you got to think of the ones who weren't registered, and
mm-hmm,
you know, there's just too many uh, people that are suspect. Too many.
right. You got a whole county full of suspects.
Yeah, and there's RSOs who lived within a couple minutes walking distance to their house.
Mm-hmm.
But what I feel is somebody had to have known that house in that area
And had to
to
have been watching them, watching the house, watching
decide,
Summer. I mean,
to
everything.
decide that they were going to walk up that hill. And I mean, was it just a by chance they went up there and seen Summer out there, and you
I
know,
don't believe so.
I, um,
It's a completely different situation than it would be like if you were in the city limits, and let's just say, okay, let's just say I'm an RSO and I'm driving around the, you know, in neighborhoods and stuff, and I see this little kid, you know, outside in his yard playing, be like, hey, come here. Do you know where Tammy lives? Or you know, or have you seen my little dog? I'm looking for my little dog, you know, or what, and just snatch them up. You know, this is a secluded, remote area.
this is the thing too. What exact route did Don take coming home? Andy Bernard supposedly got home right about the same time Don did. If they
Mm-hmm.
took the same route, and that area is a dead end street, now somebody could have took the back ways and everything else, and I believe that Scott H has got some really good maps
Uh-huh.
showing the area and stuff. Um, but and Dawn knew in his heart that somebody had taken her.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't you kind of be watching for cars that are coming out?
Right. I'd be breaking my neck looking at every car I pass.
But you know, he referred to Summer, you know, being worth her weight in gold, and he also
Mm-hmm.
made the comment. Finally, he said, even if Summer comes back, that he's a nobody because he no longer has a job. So Don has always made it about himself
Oh
and
yeah, poor
things,
Don.
and
I don't have a lick of sympathy for him.
but he
I really
also
don't.
talked um, uh, he talking about whoever came up and took her out of the basement to commit this crime, you would want to get in your vehicle and get as far away from possible. And he says they wouldn't stick around. He talks about her being worth her weight in gold, a lot of gold. Says the world belongs to Satan because he always talking about Satan. And said, you know, that whoever took his daughter, and if she is unalive, she has a guaranteed spot in the resurrection, and that is worth gold. So,
Yeah, see,
in my
I
mind,
don't know what they teach at that church. I don't know what their beliefs are and stuff.
oh,
So,
I
you know,
can't. if you go out here and do something to somebody and you ask God to forgive you, that takes away all responsibility of what you've done to that person. You don't have to worry about how that person feels because you're okay with God.
Well, you know what? I asked, I have a friend who, that I went to some, uh, what do you call those meetings? Her husband was an alcoholic,
Oh,
and,
AA?
and he went to AA meetings, but she went to the meetings that are for people who, live with alcoholics or live with drug addicts.
Yeah, I think is that Al-Anon?
Al-Anon, yeah, Al-Anon. I went to some Al-Anon meetings with her, and I asked her one day, because she knows my personal situation, because she knew my father and my stepmother's family. Her husband grew up around my stepmother and her family, so they were aware of my situation with my dad, my stepmom. And I asked her one day, I said, they teach you, I know that they teach you in Al-Anon make to make peace with the people that you've hurt,
Yeah, make amends, yeah.
make amends with the people you've hurt. So but why is that not a command of God in the Bible? To be forgiven of your sins, you've got to, admit your sins, and make right with the people that you hurt. And she told me that it was. She said it is in the Bible.
Yeah,
I just don't remember where she told me it was.
I believe me, after all these years, I couldn't set and tell you the 10 Commandments. I would have to look.
Yeah.
I mean, but my family, my grandfather, my whole family were alcoholics.
Yeah.
Now, my dad wasn't, and my stepmom really wasn't. She would have a couple glasses of wine or something, but my mother was in rehab about 7 times. And my grandfather, her dad, he was an alcoholic up till the end. I mean, he had to have his Pabst Blue Ribbon beer. My uncle, they were alcoholics, and so I grew up around that. So it makes me, I know that even, I'll go out with my daughter and we'll eat and maybe have a beer while we're eating Chinese, but we only have one. I know I can't, even though I'm not a drinker, I don't like to drink. Even if I did go somewhere like a bar or something, there wouldn't be just having one. Because that's a generational problem in my family.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's really sad that Don immediately started accusing meth heads. Don also.
Yeah, see, his obsession with meth heads and talking about meth heads constantly, and even Dudley admitted that, he tried to accuse Dudley of being a meth head and all that. Don talks, he talks a lot about meth heads, but he does not admit to the fact that he himself is a meth head. Everybody else is, but him.
I was looking through all my notes today, and I just happened to come up on, I was going to go, next time I come live, I was going to go over it on exactly what they came up positive for on their urine test and stuff, and him talking about it. I can't remember who he was talking about, who he was talking to.
A lot of people have talked about Don's drug problem and stuff, but Don, but Don wants to Don wants to talk about everybody else's drug problems, but his own. He doesn't admit to them.
Yeah, well, he never has, and even when he worked with Dudley, he said that Dudley was writing on the wall, what meth addicts act like and everything else. And come to find out, it was Donnie Self doing it. And he
Yeah.
admitted, just like his prank hoax phone call with Mary, which was disgusting that him and Candace did. He said,
Yes.
well, we did that to flush some stuff out. So, and we learned something. What'd they learn? Not a freaking thing. That phone call was disgusting.
Yeah.
It was disgusting. But yeah, he said it was hard to find your way to the resurrection because the world is so evil. Saying if Summer was unalive, she would be guaranteed a spot and be worth her weight in gold. Mentioned Summer and gold.
I don't deny myself that that if Summer is unalive, that she's going to heaven.
Oh yeah, no doubt she's a child.
I mean,
she's a child.
She's an innocent child, and she didn't ask for her life to be taken away from her, or she hasn't done anything wrong. Whoever hurt her, or
Then he says if he went and robbed a drug dealer, he is going to get far away. They are going to send people after me to kill me. I don't know why he mentioned that in a conversation when you're talking about your daughter being worth her weight in gold, but then all of a sudden you're talking about if a drug, getting away as far as possible, and they would send somebody after me to kill me. That made no sense. I even have in my notes, why mention drug convo about Summer?
Yeah, I mean, I talked about that, in my last live that I discussed Summer, and I feel like by now, if this were a situation where a drug dealer that he Don may have ripped off took her, they don't still have her by now.
Yeah, they talked about that from the beginning.
I mean, it's just too much. We're going on 2 years.
One thing I talked about from the beginning also was there's always the possibility of whoever took Summer thought that it was going to stay low key, and it didn't stay low key, and possibly did have to harm her in the end because they couldn't keep her.
That's a very good plausible.
Yeah, But in that live with Ernie, Don slapped Candace in the face, and then they were said to have allegedly be shooting dope in the bathroom. We know Don's, literally showed his ass I don't know how many times on the toilet. I mean, just ridiculous stuff. And then he cannot figure out why people are like, Don, you've done something.
Exactly. Yeah.
You've done something.
Why is everybody turned on me? Why is everybody against me? Why is everybody trying to hurt me? Oh, poor me. Poor Donnie. I don't have a lick of fucking sympathy for him.
When I said something about, he said, what's it basically matter if she came home, because he didn't have a job. He couldn't take care of her because he didn't have a job.
Well, I mean, if anybody hears this, you come to me. You don't hold this against Remain Calm. What I say is my opinion and how I feel. So if you got a problem with it, you come to me about it. Don't come to her about it. Okay? Let me make that clear first off. Second of all, Don, I'm sorry. They do not need none of them kids back.
No, I agree.
None of them kids back.
I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. I'm telling you, I got so disgusted with him. They kidnapped my children. They took your
No, they.
children from the beginning. You praised them. Oh, you're so
Hmm.
great, my kids. And, now all of a sudden people are like, well, I was listening to interview that Candace's friend, I think her name's Gemma or something.
Hmm.
And she was like, Dawn, I was on the phone when Candace was talking about the boys not wanting to come back home. And he was like,
Yeah,
well,
I've heard that. There's been people over, the last year that supposedly know where the boys are, and know what family they're with, or what family or families they're with, and have said them boys don't want to come home.
well, I think the sad part of that is if they truly know where them boys are at, they shouldn't
Mhm.
even be mentioning that on YouTube or social media.
No, no,
You
that
know,
they don't even need to be.
because you've got to think about it like this, and I'm sure Don Wells don't. When after Summer went missing, and we watched the drunken behavior, we watched the
Hmm.
fighting, we watched the hollering, we
Hmm.
watched stuff, and for
And
a
the way he
short
talks to Candace, and the way that, and where they way they talk to each other,
thing about it is, for a
it's
short
just.
time, those boys were still there before CPS
I
went and got.
know, I know.
So, their behavior and they, well, we wanted CPS to take them because of what was going on. Can I see that it was probably dangerous up there? Yeah. I mean, I'm
Hmm.
sure it was. But I
Yeah.
think that Dawn needs to admit, and Candace too, that they created some of that,
Yes, they did.
atmosphere.
They sure
Um,
did. They created a lot of this.
and I don't think it was safe up there for them way before Summer went missing. I mean,
Right.
years coming, who, and, who in their right mind lets a man show up from New York and you don't even know him, and just because you have somebody staying with you that's like, oh yeah, um, let them stay, I like them, and the
Hmm.
dude ends up staying there. You
Yeah.
don't know him. You don't know anything about him,
Right.
and they let him stay there. And what happened? All of a sudden, their relationship went poof. Her and Allie,
Hmm.
supposedly because of him. And this is what I don't understand. Allie knew that Candace was giving her son the substances that she was giving him. She knew it all along.
Yeah.
So why, you know, I would have gotten more mad at her about the crap she was doing with my son than I would
Right.
have Jose cuddling her to make her feel better. And
Right.
that got me too, because when she did that interview with Chris McDonough, she acted like she didn't even know Jose's name.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
She acted like she didn't even know him.
Act like he was just a passerby, wasn't
I,
nobody of any of significance.
I think she didn't really want to say a lot about him because Dawn, I think
Yeah.
Dawn probably would have threw a big fit if she would have said anything remotely kind about Jose being there. So,
That's another thing that, you know, we can clearly see, is that when Don's not around, Candace is desperate for any other man she can get. She is desperate for attention from any other man she can get. I mean, when all that time when Don was in jail, she was goo goo for Benny. She was goo goo for Ernie.
she was good.
I mean, it.
Well, she even before that, she was communicating with a guy on, I think it might have been Facebook or something, because they even talked about meeting at oh, what the heck is it, Gatlinburg. and
Mm-hmm.
and
So that right
I
there tells you she's not in love with Don. She's not happy with Dawn. She's just stuck with Dawn.
Yeah. Well, you
You
have to
know.
realize too, I mean, when you have 4 children and you're basically living at 110 Ben Hill, 11 and a half acres,
Mhm.
the house wasn't that great, but he wasn't home so much that was her and the kids' home.
Yeah.
So I think him popping in when he did and even staying when he did, she just kind of put up with it. But I do
Yeah.
believe a lot of people have said, even from the beginning, that Grandma and Candace were trying to do everything they could to get Don in trouble and get him out of there. And I can see that because Don wasn't helping her pay. This kind of got me too because Don, at one point had said about Candy Hair that something about uh, she was never there for Candace anyway. And I'm like, he was paying the bills,
Yeah.
paying, I'm sure, the electricity and everything, because it was said that Candace would have to beg for money from him. So,
Mhm. Well, when Dawn went to jail, I heard she wasn't even staying up on the hill anymore, and that Grandis had gone back to Wisconsin or wherever, and that she was staying with a friend. It was even theorized, and people were trying to say that she was staying in Alabama with some girlfriend of Ernie's.
no, she had went, I don't even think, I don't know if she went to Alabama or not, but she did go somewhere. And,
I
and
want to say it was Alabama or Georgia,
yeah, somewhere like
somewhere.
um, her friend Kathy um, helped her get clean and things like that. That's why I'm really hoping now that she's somewhat clean. But then again, after the phone call with the boys, where the foster parents said that they were positive she was drinking and wasn't going to let her talk to the boys anymore,
Mhm.
said they kept saying, "Oh, stroke, stroke, stroke." But if you listen to her in any of her conversations, she doesn't sound like that. She
Right.
doesn't sound like that.
I
So
haven't. Now I haven't heard her talk since Dawn got out of jail.
yeah, she's been on,
Um,
I believe, Prayer Gardens channel,
yeah,
and
I don't listen to that channel,
I don't pay no attention to that channel either. Usually, I try to if
and
something.
don't understand why in the world they would even trust talking to Prayer Garden, because from
Well,
what I've heard, that not a very trustworthy so-called friend.
well, I'm working on some stuff on that issue, and you know, seeing where some things take me. I question a lot um, how long that Dawn actually knew her.
Yeah.
She says that it was a couple weeks after Summer went missing, but just some things that have happened. Um, I'm digging to find the answers. Will I find the answers I want to find? Maybe not, but
Yeah.
I'm looking into all that stuff. So you know, but yeah, I mean, Don has just said some crazy stuff. Now, when he was on Smiley's channel, this is what got me because he talked about her being unalive. He said somebody unalived her, might have molested her, might have unalived her, might have hit her in the head with a hammer.
Yeah, I couldn't even repeat that kind of stuff out of my own mouth
Why I was having,
about.
like today, I was like, I need to get a little
It's
feisty
hard
because,
for me to say about anyone else's kid,
right,
much
right.
less my own. You
Well, I
know.
was like, okay, I had to make myself, get in like a little feisty mood where I could do it with a little bit of attitude, because just saying it coming out of my mouth, you know, I was
Right.
like, I don't
Just
know.
because I have the guts to look at something awful or read something awful doesn't mean that I have the guts to
Repeat
repeat
it.
it out of my own
Right.
mouth, you know.
Yeah. And then this is what kind of fell after that, okay, when he was on the phone with Lips and he talked about the river. Okay. I printed it out. I'm gonna, you know, we'll talk a
What
little bit.
river is he referring to?
The river around his area. Let me find it on here. Okay, right here. He says, whoever took her, some meth addict that freaked out in his head or whatever, unalived her, tied her up somewhere. Says he just feels there's a good chance she is probably unalive. He said, around here, you can just throw a body in the creek, and with a little rain, it will wash it down into the river. Okay? It wouldn't be hard. As a matter of fact, you could just take a body, throw it into one of these rivers around here. That's what I thought about initially, but you would probably have to see it there. It's rivers around here, some big rivers, and he started talking about a car that ended up sinking, you know, in one of the creeks or something. But he said when it rains, it'll wash anything down. It could be anywhere. Could be anywhere. And then he says that he had that dream or a vision while he was in jail, that somebody tied her up to something and threw her in the river. Okay. So if you look at like every point that I was trying to
that kind of, having those kind of thoughts and things like that, you know, I can tell you all about nightmares. I've suffered from nightmares since I was a child, and but to be having nightmares like that about my own child, I'd have done unalive my own damn self.
Well, that's the thing about it.
I couldn't deal with that.
Me writing this stuff, and then, you know, I'm like, okay, well, he said this. Well, then he said this. Well, then he said this. If you can pinpoint all these things, you can write a paragraph of what he says happened to her. If you honestly looked at this stuff and you wrote it down point by point, he's telling us exactly.
There's a story in there. There's a story in there somewhere in all of it.
Exactly. There's a story in there somewhere. I just feel that in my heart.
Yeah.
I just feel that from the beginning that he put himself out there to be, you know, a crazy guy who just runs his mouth and everything else. And, you know, I've been writing this stuff down for ever. And I was like, I need to pinpoint everything.
Well, from the very beginning, they've talked about her, you know, in past tense. So, you know, it's
with them, what they always did was, if they heard somebody say something, the next time they would go on a live, or even do Don doing an interview with the news or whatever, he would come and be on the defensive of something negative that he heard somebody say. That was a big thing with him. If you said, you know, if you said that Don said this or did this, you could guarantee the next live or whatever he did, he was defending himself on that. That was always a good thing. He did that all the time. He did that all the time. Now,
that's one thing you can't do. You cannot fight the press. You cannot fight the press. You might as well give up.
Ansley Daniels learned how to handle him real well because
Mm-hmm.
in one interview she asked him, "Did you have anything to do with Summer disappearing or something like that?" And he
Mm-hmm.
started telling her this big old story. And finally, after a few minutes, she was like,
Are you
"Are
gonna
you
answer
going
me or
to,
not?
you know?" And she learned that about Dawn really well.
Yeah.
I'd love to talk to her someday because
Yeah,
I'm
you
sure
can't ask him a straight up question and get a straight up answer out of him.
let me tell you, she learned him really quick, really quick.
Mm-hmm.
But he's always been very hateful. If you go back and you watch Smiley's World interview, you can
Mm-hmm.
tell that he's getting I don't know. I don't know if he was drinking. I don't know what he was doing. But the more that went on, the worse it got. I mean, he
Yeah.
started getting nasty. So,
Yeah.
but
Well,
next,
the ones that I have been present for and listened to when he did them, which were the ones with Molly and Betty, and then when he got out of jail, when he came on Dolly's panel that night, you know, uh, they're bad enough. So
well, I think the
you
bad
know,
thing
it's absolutely
with Dolly
disgusting.
and them going there, and I know they used the excuse that they went to his job because he had said he would meet them, but they were also telling him come have a drink with them and stuff like that,
Yeah,
and I don't know. I think if they would have handled that a little bit different, him and
yeah,
Candace would have met him for dinner or something maybe.
yeah.
But you can't say things to people and then turn around and think that they're going to come and break bread with you, like you're their
Hmm.
good buddies. That's what's throwing me off about Benny. You know, it, and I read that thing, but what got me is when he brought Don and Candace into it.
Yeah, I don't, his, I feel the same way about Benny as I do Don. His words are meaningless, empty,
Well, no,
self-sufficing. I just don't,
the only thing
I
I'm
don't,
saying, what is weird about Benny doing this at this time was because Ernie came out not long ago talking about he was done with YouTube, that
hmm,
he could make more money, you know, in the real life thing than being on
hmm,
YouTube, and now Benny comes out with this. So you
yeah.
kind of, okay, well, does he know something that he don't want to say, so he's got to walk away, or you know, I
Well,
don't know.
Benny's made his own bed just like Don and Candace have made their own bed and they can lay in it.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't
I'm sorry, but I watched that guy do some horrible stuff. Um,
exactly.
I don't know what he's talking about when he was talking about what I learned today or something like that.
I don't know. I didn't even know that he had posted that because
Oh,
I
I
have it
didn't
fixed to
either.
where his garbage doesn't even come through my feed.
Gypsy,
So
I think it was Gypsy who told me. Um, and then Lips was in here and she said something, but
yeah. Well, I've got it fixed to where his garbage doesn't even come through my feed
I don't
anymore.
watch him. I
So
don't watch him. I used to watch him, and then um, I'm working on some stuff,
I even
and
tried to force myself to like him, and I just couldn't do it.
well, I
Just
mean, let me tell you, like Prayer Garden, they both can be very funny when they want to be, but
mhm.
unfortunately, it got to where they were both so cocky and hateful to people for no reason.
Well,
And I just couldn't, I didn't like that.
I guess maybe that's why I can't keep very many listeners on my channels because I'm true, I'm honest, and I'm not going to be fake. I'm not going to bullshit with you, I'm not going to kiss somebody's rear to get this and that and the other, and all this backstabbing back and forth. I have opted out of the drama from the very minute I came to YouTube, and I guess I'm just boring. I guess that's why nobody wants to listen to me.
I haven't had my channel for long at all. Not long at all, really. And, I thought, okay, well, I've got problems with my hands, so I have a hard time writing. And I thought, I'm going to start going over from the beginning these notes that I have.
Yeah.
And pointing out some things that, people do overlook. Now, do I know that I need to start throwing some videos in there and different things like that? Yeah, I'll get to that. I'm not in no hurry. It doesn't matter to me if I have 3 people listen or 100 people listen.
Well, and I felt that same way. I do get upset, sometimes because it seems like everybody says that they're here for true crime and they're here about true crime and this, and that, and the other. But all this genre is nothing but drama. And, I'm, like I said, I have opted to stay out of the drama. I don't want no part of it. That's not why I'm here. I'm here to discuss cases, whether they be old cases or new cases. I don't care nothing about all that drama, and I guess that's why.
I kind of got led astray a couple times since I've even started my channel, and I just got to the point where stuff outside of not my family life or anything, but relationships from YouTube, outside of YouTube, was exhausting me. It was exhausting me, and I just had to say, okay, well, no, I got to take a break from that because I'm exhausted, just from that. And because I would, have everything together on what I wanted to talk about or do or this or that. And then it would be, okay, well, I really want to hear this or I really want to hear that. And it would get me off track. And so finally I was like, no, I just have to step away from that whole situation and focus on what I want to do. That's
I feel like, I just feel like everybody cares more about the drama than they do about actually discussing real true crime cases. Like I said, whether they be old or whether they be new, everybody just cares more about the drama than they do, these cases and stuff.
I don't give about that stuff. I had somebody come up and was talking about these certain things and everything else, and I was like, okay, cool. I really didn't say a whole lot, but then I was like, not to be mean or anything. And I'm not saying you don't know what you're talking about, but to me, that what you're talking about isn't relevant to Summer going missing.
Right.
Even though good info, however you put it out there, and which I really don't think I hurt the girl's feelings because she's on bigger channels and stuff.
Yeah.
So, I was like,
98% of the stuff that's out here and attached to Summer's name is not relevant to her going missing.
Yeah, not at all.
It's
and
whatever happened with him and his sisters and all that in the past it happened, and it's horrible. And I feel for his sisters and everything, but all that does is just go to show the character of Don Wells.
Right, exactly.
It doesn't, none of it, whether it's true or not, or whether this happened or that happened, or who's telling the truth and who's lying and blah, 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 and all that crap. It has nothing to do with June 15th, 2000, 21.
No, because I mean, if you even listen to them people talking, they contradict themselves, number one. And number two, it's like, did you even know about summer? I mean, I don't know, but like you said, the person who made that relevant to everybody was Chris McDonough. And
Right.
I think that was
And it has spiraled.
I think that was to get it done. I honestly think that was to get it
I
done.
mean, I'm glad, now don't get me wrong, I'm glad it all came out, because like I said, it goes to show, you know, the character of Don Wells. But what we need to be figuring out, and what we need to be discussing, and the hard questions that do need to be talked to Don and Candace about are, okay, if you had nothing to do with Summer's demise, and then who in your immediate circle would have wanted to do this to you? I'm going to talk to you like the cops are going to talk to you. Okay, who do you think could have done this to you? Who was around Summer that you think might have, had weird vibes, or or whatever?
I've heard him say, and I've heard other people say, he's tired of being asked the same questions over and over and over. And
I can imagine, but it's
all this time, it's just got to the point where,
it's just rehashing and repeating.
Yeah, that's
everything.
What I did when he got out of jail. I was like, all right, well, just hit the rewind button, because it's like going back to right after Summer went missing, because it's all starting all over again. So I always say a lot of the chaos came in from Dawn and Candace themselves.
Yes.
If you go back and look,
totally agree.
He's even said himself that there was money involved from Tim Mullins for him to create chaos. Create chaos, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody that was even coming into that case that they didn't want, basically, in that case, it was made chaos. There was people threatening other creators. I mean,
yes, Lord God, it has gotten horribly nasty. But you know what? Benny is just as guilty as the rest of them are. More guilty than anybody of making these false calls to police to do a welfare check on somebody, calling CPS on people,
right?
Calling and doxing people and putting people's personal information out there. Who gives a damn?
That stuff was just ridiculous to me. I tried really hard not to pay any attention to that stuff. And I know I would get in people's chats. I remember I was in somebody's chat one time, and somebody had said something, and I just the type of person, if I'm in a chat, I try to be nice to everybody. And I'll never forget, I put something about being nice or something. I was just being nice to the person, and somebody else said, don't even start with that crap. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Oh, I know. I woke up early this morning, and Jonathan was on live, and I went into his chat, and when I went in there, it was just a handful of people, and then somebody must have ended their live, because here come the trolls, and the trolls started coming in and saying, all their smart aleck stuff to Jonathan, and I'm just like, it's God damn, it's too early for trolling.
That's why I don't even,
I mean, geez.
I'll watch something and I won't even get into chat. And most of the channels, there's people that I really like, but they're in the drama. I'll go in and hit the like button all the time. I always try to hit.
Oh, I don't tolerate it on my channel. If somebody comes into my my channel and that just wants to troll, or whatever, it's that block button. My
Well,
block list is probably as long as my legs.
I always say
I ain't got no time for that crap.
Theories without repercussions, but don't come into my chat and start having. This is the way I see it. If you guys want to have a conversation about whatever, drop your emails.
Yeah.
Talk to each other.
Yeah.
You can do it that way. You don't have to be in my chat and do it.
Taken away from the subject at hand of what you're discussing. Right. I agree.
And I do know a lot of people do that. And I've always said, this is one thing I say on my channel, put a Q in front of your question or a C for a comment, because that way, when I'm done reading whatever I'm reading, I'll go back through my chat and try to answer your questions if I can answer them. That I've always said that. Nobody ever does it. I never have anybody in chat. I only have like maybe 3 or 4 people sometimes.
Yeah. And most of mine, a lot of mine that come in to my chat end up, they're people that had just happened upon my live.
Right.
And it's like, where are the 400 and something people that are subscribed to my channel?
Right. Well, like with me, like I told you from the get-go, I go to bed early. So
yeah.
I have been trying to come over and go into your chat, but then I'll turn you on my TV. And
yeah.
watch you on my TV, because I don't have any of I have nothing on my phone to do with anything on my YouTube at all. So my phone is totally separate than my YouTube. So
yeah,
I can usually pull things up on my phone, but I don't have subscriptions or anything on my phone like that. So yeah, I don't, like I said, I don't mind if nobody's in my chat or anything like that.
I'm to the point to where I don't really care anymore either, because I certainly don't want the drama. If you're not coming to my channel to discuss true crime, and discuss the cases, then I don't want you in my channel. And
this is my thing. I don't really care what people say in my chat. Just don't do it to be disrespectful.
Right.
And I keep, seeing things, disrespectful things going on and on and on and on. And it may not happen at one time, but it's happened quite a few times over a long period of time. That's when I'm like, okay, whatever. I just stepping back,
Yeah.
And I used to not be like that, because I would always put it on myself to try to make everybody else feel good about themselves and try to make people happy. And I put that on myself, and in the process of doing that, I was taking on too much. I was trying to do my channel. I was, trying to make other people feel good about themselves and encourage them and everything else. And it just got to be too much. So not that I don't care about people, because even smaller channels, I love smaller channels. Usually everybody who subs to me, I check, and if they've got a channel, I sub back.
Yeah.
So that's just something I do. So, but so I, just had to do a couple of tweaks.
So much of it has just turned into drama, to the point that that's all I feel like anybody really cares about is the drama. I guarantee if I make a title, that says, all right, I'm fixing to unload on all these YouTube creators that I can't stand, I'd have 100 people in my chat room. Like, oh, who's she going to talk about? Ooh, what's she going to say?
Who's she going to talk about? What's she going to say? That's what I always say too, because, I know people look at me because, I like lips. Lips and me just have this special relationship. And I know that she can do some things and say some things, and I'm the first one that says to her, "Why the hell did you do that?" or "Why'd you say that?"
Mhm.
or whatever. But you know what? She's an adult, and I'm an adult.
Mhm.
Happens what happens with her is what happens with her, and
Mhm.
she she doesn't talk about people that I like. We don't
Yeah.
talk about
Well, I mean, I'm not going to say anything about anybody that I won't say to their face.
exactly.
So, if anybody out there is screenshotting me or, downloading chats and stuff and
That's
trying to keep any
ridiculous.
kind of receipts on me, that's the thing is go on and run, tell so and so I was talking crap about them because I'll say it to their face. I mean, I'm not.
Man, too. I'm not gonna sit back and I'm not gonna do it. I mean, I don't have anything to really say about anybody. I really don't.
I
I
don't either. I mean, good Lord, if I did say what I thought about a lot of these people,
yeah.
you'd get an earful,
That's
but I mean,
well,
I just don't say
I
nothing. I mean, I've made it very clear that I don't like Benny, but I will be very clear to Benny's face that I don't like him.
yeah.
And
Well,
I'll tell him why I don't like him,
you wouldn't be the only one, so
you
you'd be
know.
in a long line, and he knows
And
that.
I've tried to be clear about my feelings, regarding Dawn and Candace. I mean, even if Dawn were to come in the chat right now, I wouldn't be trying to kiss his rear. I'd tell him straight up, I think that you and
Yeah, I
something ain't
would.
right. I'm not going to try to be fake or you know or pretend to be his friend or any kind of that. I'm going to tell you straight to your face. I
Well,
got
the thing
questions
about
about
it
you,
is,
dude.
I one way, throughout an interview, the majority of the time he gets ticked off and starts cussing people out anyway. So if
Mm-hmm.
you're the creator who's talking to him, let him end it by cussing you out, for what you're
Mm-hmm.
doing, not telling you what 50 other people why he's ticked off at them. If he's
I'd
going to
be
come
like,
on
well,
my
Don,
channel,
this ain't about me. This is about you.
yeah,
We're,
well,
my problems or what I've done has nothing to do with your daughter missing.
and let me
Let's talk.
tell you,
This is about
one
you.
thing, one thing about Don Wells, he can sit and talk about these male creators and call them dirty names or whatever, and that's fine. Some of them deserve it, but
Mm-hmm.
you know what? Don ain't coming to your state. He's not gonna come and get face to face with any of you. It ain't gonna happen.
Exactly.
Everybody can talk a big talk when it's behind a freaking computer
Oh
screen
yeah.
or a phone. So,
Oh yeah.
that's why I'm like, I I would not be intimidated having a conversation with the guy. I wouldn't.
Yeah. No,
But to
I'm
be
not
honest with you,
intimidated by him.
I could give a crap less about even talking to him.
I've gone face to face
I'd
with
rather
far worse
I would
than
rather
Don Wells or Benny Keys or anybody, any of them. I've
I
gone
would
face to face with far worse and far powerful
I would
than them.
I'd rather talk to the first person that I would love to talk to is Little Summer. I would love to
That's
talk
who
to
I
her.
want to talk to.
Second
I know
person
it.
is Candace. That's it. I don't even really want to talk to Grandma. Grandma said what she
You
said, and
know.
people can take that however they want it, but
Mm.
don't mean a lot to me.
Yeah, she don't strike me as you know.
Because where has all this time and all this crap that people did and everything else, where has it got? It hasn't gotten anywhere.
No, it hasn't. It's gotten absolutely nowhere.
You know how many suspects that true crime has brought into the Summer Wells case?
Oh yeah, I know.
Everybody whose names mentioned, their uncle, their cousin, their aunts, their
Mm-hmm.
relatives from 5,000 miles away, and all that stuff, and just lie after lie after lie, and
Mhm.
they need to quit thinking that what this is what I always said. You may be sitting on some information that this YouTuber who you don't like might have that information. Why can't you have
Mhm.
enough respect for each other to get together and have good conversation about it instead of
Mhm.
going, that's my information. I'm not letting nobody have it. What's gonna happen? Let me ask everybody something. What's gonna happen when little Summer's found? Whether she either way, I'm not even gonna say it. Either way,
Right.
she is found. You gonna what? Pat yourself on the back and say, "Oh, I did that. I had the little piece of information
Mhm.
that did that, but I didn't bring that information out for a year and a half because
Mhm.
I was waiting for somebody else to say something." It's like, come on,
Mhm.
grow up, people. I mean, the only
Yep.
information that I have that I'm keeping back really don't even have anything to do with summer. It's got to do with a totally different scenario, you know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's like anything to do with summer, put it out there. Quit sitting on it. You may not think it's important, and definitely don't put it out on social media. Give it to law enforcement first.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I have done that. I have uncovered information in a case that I knew for absolute sure that the police did not have that information. And that was what I did was I tried to contact the law enforcement agency that was over that case, and couldn't get a return phone call, return email, or nothing. That's another thing that makes me mad is law enforcement looks to the public for help, but then when you do try to help, um, you know, it's
Well,
it's
I think
written off as bullshit.
what's sad about Summer's case for the new people who's starting to cover it because um, these not all of them. I'm not even putting all these
I'm
creators.
still holding on to that information that I have, even
But,
though now
but
after 20 something years the case has actually been solved.
right.
I'm still holding on to that information.
Well, I think with Summer, the newer people coming in are, yeah. I know they mean well, and information that they're getting, they may not know that from the very beginning that it's that information has already been given to every law enforcement person available
Mhm.
that could take it and listen. And, I don't want these newer people to be upset if Hawkins County says, leave us alone, or,
Yeah.
I'm sure TBI would thank them for it, but some of that information, was given a long time ago. And
Yeah.
it's nothing new to them or to some of us who have been around for a long time. But the some of the newer people just now coming into Summer's case, they hear something and they get excited about it and think, oh my gosh, we need to let somebody know this. And it's
Mhm.
really, you know, ask. You can always ask a older person who's been involved since the beginning. Hey, you know, has this person been looked at or turned in or whatever?
Mhm.
And you know, just just let you know. I don't want to say don't turn it in because y'all do whatever you want. But if you don't get the response that you want out of the material that you're giving, that's the reason why you may get the response you're getting.
Well, and now that now that the whole armchair detective YouTuber creator and all that stuff has kind of come to light, you know, more prevalent or whatever, you know, you go to a law enforcement agency, you know, or whatever, and you're, you know, like somebody like me who's trying to be serious about what they do, who's trying to be, you know, do things right and all that, you know, you go to them and you say, well, I'm a YouTube creator, or I'm a podcaster, or and be like, oh God, here we go, you know, because all this drama that has been brought into and come out of this community makes us all look bad.
Yeah, it did. It made everybody look bad. You know, and the thing with Summer's case too, and like I said, I guess from following it so long, I have watched people delete video after video after video, or lies that they've done that's actually, you know, said some good information and stuff, and then poof, it's gone. And that's happened a lot with a lot of creators that, you know, all of a sudden they just don't have it there anymore. It's gone. So it makes some of these newer YouTubers, which is fine, you know, catch everything that you can catch, because either, and I'm guilty. I've privatized a video or so, but you know, it wasn't because I was hiding anything that was said on it. Like when I was talking to Lips and I was looking around, you know, trying to share my screen, which of course I know how to do it now, but
I don't know what happened the other day, but me and who else was on the panel?
Lisa,
we got kicked out. Somehow I didn't leave on my own. We got kicked out.
I had you on. I put her back over in chat, but I thought I had you down because I
don't know. I was listening to you. I had my, you know, I had myself on mute, so you couldn't hear me, you know, rustling around and everything while you were doing what you were trying to do. And Lips was trying to, you know.
I was trying to share my screen, right?
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, I think I'd gotten up to get something to drink or something. And all of a sudden, you quit talking. I heard the phone go off, or heard it go off. And I looked at my screen and it showed that I'd been kicked out. And
I didn't do that on purpose. I really didn't.
Oh.
I'm learning. Let me tell you,
I'm still learning StreamYard too, and I don't know how to do all that stuff. You know, when I was doing my live the other night, and I was trying to show that, I don't know if you were in there when I was trying to show the video that I had done about Morgan, it froze up for some reason.
But I want to start doing some videos. Because I think, you know, when
I've never shared anyone else's content on any of my
well, when I did the interview, I did the Ziggy and Marion Prayer Garden interview, I did that on my phone, and then kind of commentaried it throughout it, so that way, you know, and said educational purposes and stuff like that. I go in and, you know, finish.
Well, there's nothing wrong with doing it, you know, as long as you're doing it with good intentions. But there's people that show someone else's content through you know, their whole entire show because they ain't created enough to make their own content. You know, they're doing it for to sit and bash someone else.
Yeah, usually if I'm even talking about if I'm talking about something, that I always try to say who the creator is, because I'm like,
yeah,
you know, I'll say something and I'll be like, go here and you can watch it
Yeah,
on
yeah,
yourself.
that's what I do too.
It's just easier for me to do it that way because a lot of my writing, well, not my end result, but
Mhm.
with the transcribed interviews and stuff like that, of course, that's like with the lab or Chris McDonough or Ziggy or somebody. And I always make sure if I read a transcribed interview that the person's getting the credit who did the interview. Not
Yeah.
me. I just transcribed it. So, but I get a little frustrated. I think when I read my stuff,
Hmm.
I'm gonna try to do it in a video instead of trying to do it on a live because when you're reading and you're into it and you're trying to my writing is very important to me. So when I say, okay, this is my writing and I'm going to read it, and within this it does tell you a lot, and then you get interrupted over something silly. I don't know, I kind of got irked. So
Yeah. Yeah.
which is okay, but I'm like, okay, maybe I shouldn't go that way anymore. So my writing itself, I think I'm going to start making little videos with it. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just learning how to do stuff, girl. I don't, I've had to teach myself how to do everything. My daughters have been so supportive. My son's really supportive too. They have been so supportive of me starting my channel for probably 3 years or more. They've been wanting me to
Yeah.
do my channel. But what I really want to do, and I go to my daughter's every year, and I usually stay like a month.
Hmm.
So we've already got plans to get my paranormal channel started and different stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I'll probably keep this channel for this stuff, and then just make another channel for my paranormal channel is what I'll do.
Yeah.
So
Well, I
what?
got a paranormal story I can tell you about
Well, tell me about it.
my friend Lisa and her house. Um, that house was haunted by demons or something. I think something happened there, or there was some witches that lived there, or people doing witchcraft or something that lived in that home uh, previously, because well, there were two homes on the property, and one of them, Lisa's parents and her and her brother, moved into. The other one, they ended up tearing it down. But when after they first moved out there and stuff, Lord, there was a big stain in the middle of the floor of this other house that was there on the property. We found a Ouija board. Uh, Something extremely creepy and witchy and satanic went on out there. And that's something I've actually always wanted to do, and I wanted to talk to Lisa about it, about now that I'm older and I know these things, can go back and look in like homeowners records and stuff,
Well,
and
some
see if we could
states,
find out maybe who lived in the home previously before
right?
they bought it and moved into it, because this was in the late 70s when they bought it.
Well,
And
I know some states, if something happens, you have to disclose it.
well, oh yeah, yeah. But I mean, this was an old house, and like I said, I don't know how old it had been, at the time that our parents bought it in when we were kids in the late 70s. But I would love to go to the records department and see if I can, you know, pull up the records on it to see, you know, how far back, you know, I could find homeowners and stuff on it. And, you know, it may be something that happened in the, you know, the 1800s or the early 1900s or something. You
Yeah,
know,
it could
you
be
don't
the
know,
land.
but
Yeah, it could be just
something definitely creepy.
it,
Something went on in that house.
yeah, it could be the land itself. You just never know.
Right. Because I worked at a bar in Little Rock that was haunted. And my mom actually told me stories about that club. And she had told me that, you know, once upon a time, that was a pretty roughneck old bar. You know, people getting stabbed and shot and all
Right.
kinds of stuff. But that bar was haunted. And I mean, but it was haunted with a lot of different uh, things. Like there was a man, and he wore green pants, and we called him See All. And that we would see in there all the time. But one day, One Ton and his girlfriend went in to open the bar. One Ton was our bartender, and his girlfriend was our waitress during the day. And when they walked in the club, they saw little children running around playing behind the bar.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was probably haunted with no telling how many different, you know, ghosts.
I
And
know
so,
when I was really young.
whatever happened at Lisa's house was evil, pure evil.
Well, they say the more afraid you are, the more it ramps up. You know, once you show a lot of spirits and stuff that you're scared of them, they ramp up really bad. But when I was younger, I was probably about 4, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Or I wasn't, I remember I don't think I was in school yet. But we had an apple tree, and half of it grew on our neighbor's property, and the other half was on ours, and it was green apples. And I
Mm-hmm.
love green apples.
Oh, me too.
And
We had green apple trees at my mom and papa's house that my papa had planted, and then uh, one of my old boyfriends planted a couple of apple trees in my yard.
yeah, I love green apples. So I ate one. Well, we didn't know that the neighbor had sprayed poison on the apples.
Oh
And I
no!
got really, really sick. And
Oh,
I remember laying on the floor just sick.
oh
And
Lord!
so, my dad went over and told the old man, said, "You could have killed her." And he could have killed me. And
Mm.
it was like, I'm going to say a couple weeks later, the old man died of a heart attack. And so
Mm.
I was, back then, I had 3 sisters. So we had one big room, but it had 2 sets of bunk beds in it. And I remember laying in my bunk bed, and all of a sudden I started hearing this loud heartbeat. It was loud. And it
Mm.
scared me so bad. And I jumped up and ran into my mom and dad's room. And I never, you know, I didn't even tell them why I was scared. I don't think. I don't even think I described it. I can't remember. But a couple of nights later, um, I was asleep, and all 3 of my sisters heard it, and they freaked out. And
Mm.
so when they said something about it, I was like, "That's what I heard." But I was the only one to hear it the first time. But they all 3 heard it, so it wasn't nothing I was making up.
Yeah.
Didn't imagine it. It was something that was definitely heard. And to this day, I'm like, that old man was getting me because my dad chewed him out. So
Mhm.
it was like he'd come back to haunt me.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, that
Wow.
was creepy. That was creepy. But yeah, we used to have knocks on our windows and all different kinds of stuff. And yeah, always something going on.
Mm.
So, but yeah, this is the thing. I've seen these people get out dowsing rods and messing with, these EVPs and different stuff like that. And
Uh-huh.
it's like, don't mock that stuff. It's not going to
No,
end
and
well
you
for
sure don't
you.
want to stir something up and make it even
I
worse.
mean, yeah, they,
That's one thing that I've learned from watching, a lot of the paranormal shows and stuff is like, you can stir them up and make them even more angry.
right. I remember when I was in Germany and the girls wanted to get together and do a Ouija board, and I wouldn't do it, but I told them, I said, I'll mark down the letters as you do it. And
Hmm.
so this name, Mike Hall, spelled out. And I said, anybody know Mike Hall? No, 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 no. Didn't pay it no mind. Years later, my sister, who was older than I was, got mixed up with this guy who basically took her for some money. And his name was Mike Hall. That was wild. It was really weird. And
Mm.
I'm like, that name came into my life years ago. And now all of a sudden, this guy's name was Mike Hall, and he took my sister for
Mhm.
a lot of money. So it was really weird. It was
Yeah.
really weird, but yeah, I'm kind of excited to get it started and stuff. Because yeah, I love what I watch all paranormal shows. I do that all the time, and
Yeah.
so
But
that's
there's a
definitely
lot
one
of
of it.
people that don't believe, but that's the thing is that until something paranormal happens to you or you have some sort of, uh, unnormal experience of some kind or whatever, people think you're full of crap, you
Yeah, a
know.
lot of people just don't expand their mind enough to realize when it's even happening, and something really aggressive or something has to happen, for them to go, wait a minute, did that really happen? So, yeah,
Yeah.
it's something I'm super interested in. I know there's a church in Ohio that it's a beautiful church, and they actually have like these fountains and stuff that they bless, and people can go get holy water and
Mhm.
stuff. Even when the church not's open, they have a beautiful outside area where you can get a lot of holy water, and they have the candles and stuff outside. It's beautiful. I can't wait to go there. I'm going to go there when I go to my daughter's, so I'm kind of excited about that.
Yeah.
All right, Ruby, I'm gonna get off here.
Yeah. Okay. All
So
righty.
I'm
Well,
gonna try to
it's always good to talk to you
oh, you too. Thanks for coming up. I always enjoy you coming up.
and
Um,
discuss,
yeah,
all
don't forget
everything.
Charlie's doing at 7 o'clock. Charlie's supposed to do a live, so I'm
Oh,
gonna
okay.
try to pay attention because sometimes he'll go live, and then by the time I get back on my computer, he's already done.
Yeah.
So I'm like, guy,
I mean, I know he's planned some shows and then canceled them here lately
yeah, he just
too.
hadn't been
So,
feeling good. He had that bad sore throat. Well, he had pneumonia first, and then he got a sore throat, and so I just kind of go by. Sometimes because I'll tell him that I'm going live and or something, and but I always tell him if you don't make it over there, don't worry about it because I know he don't feel well sometimes, so
yeah.
um, I don't want to do that with him. But man, Charlie's got a lot of friends. Charlie's around. I
Yeah.
I tell him he's a YouTube hoe. So and I tell him I'm his stalker. I'll get into somebody's channel and he'll be in chat and I'll be like, I'm stalking you. So yeah, he's a good person. He's a good friend, that's for sure.
Yeah, he is.
All right, sweet cheeks. I
All right.
will see you later, and I'll watch
Okay.
for you to go live, and I will always pop in and let you know I'm watching.
Yeah, I don't have anything, on the itinerary right now. One of the cases that I'm covering is supposed to go to trial April the 3rd, and it's here in Arkansas. So
Is
I'm
that
gonna,
the SpongeBob thing?
no, that case has been resolved. She pled guilty.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Justine pled guilty in that case. But no, this one's coming up in April. It's Blue Roland, little boy. His mom, Ashley Rowland, and her boyfriend Nathan Bridges. The boyfriend killed the little boy and buried him under the house, and the
horrible.
Yeah. And
what is up
they
with
found the condition they found the sister in. She had horrible burns to her head and stuff from the boyfriend and everything, and she had to be taken to a Memphis hospital for treatment and all. This happened in December. And with all these cases that had been going on, I wondered when one was going to hit Arkansas, and sure enough, it did. Yeah. Right in the dead middle, at the height of the Idaho 4 case, right when they arrested Brian Koberger and everything.
Yeah, that's the sad thing, because a lot of times you don't actually hear of a lot of child stuff that goes on in your state because they'll make something more of a precedence over it. It's like you'll hear about abuse and stuff like that when it's gotten so bad.
Yeah, there's another case that I'm covering in Houston that I'm waiting on them to go to trial. And I looked yesterday, and they're due to go back to court next month, but I don't know if it's just for another hearing or if it's for trial or what. And that's Gloria Williams and Brian Coulter, who the boyfriend killed one of the little boys, and the trigger warning, they left these kids in this apartment with their dead brother for many, many months.
I heard about that. They're just now taking care of that.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've got both got separate court dates next month, but like I said, I don't know if it's just a prelim hearing or if it's what it is. It's some of these cases are just getting drug out for so long, that hell, I may not even be around by the time they all get to trial.
That's crazy. I remember
Arkansas has pushed this one straight to trial, though. This one with Ashley Rowland and Nathan Bridges, it just happened in December, and they'll be going to trial in April. So they
need to get.
They're not wasting their time.
Yeah, because I've also seen some abuse cases where by the time the person gets to trial, and they just get them for neglect or something. They're like, oh well, time served, and they'll let them out of jail and stuff. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me?
Well, no, that Gloria Williams and Brian Coulter, they're up on capital murder charges. And then Ashley Rowland and Nathan Bridges here in Arkansas, they are, I want to say that it's capital murder. I have to go back and look at my notes, but I'm pretty sure it's a capital murder case too.
Oh, I know what I forgot to mention.
I know they both got both Nathan and Ashley both have got about 3 or 4 charges.
One thing I forgot to mention that I had, the paper was right here in front of me, was when Don Wells was talking about seeing that little girl playing outside, and she supposedly was standing on the corner, and he decided he was going to go up to the door, and he knocked on the door and said that he couldn't understand the guy. So finally he knocked again and just opened the door and said something, and said he couldn't still understand what the grandpa said, but he got back out to his truck and waved at the little girl and got in his truck and left. And then the mother came out and said that he was trying to coerce her daughter into his vehicle. And that story, you hadn't heard that?
No.
Oh my gosh, I've got it written down somewhere. I just kind of gave you an outline of it. But yeah, that was after Summer went missing. And yeah, he said that he was going down the road, and I don't know. He said he seen the little girl standing on the corner or something. And
yeah.
But the mother immediately went on social media. I don't know if it was Facebook or what, and went off. She went off.
Imagine so.
I would have.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm sorry, but he's a suspect still.
Yeah.
And she was supposedly Summer's age.
That's just weird.
That was weird. That was very weird. That whole situation was weird. I mean, and you can take that story and look at it many different ways. You know what I mean? So, all right, girlie, I'm gonna drop you off, and I want to try to play something that Josh from the lab wrote for Summer. It's so beautiful. I'm gonna try to pull it up and see if I can play it real quick.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna drop you down. Oh, sorry, Ruby. I didn't mean to cut you off. Let's see if I can do this right. Here we go. Let's see. I thought I had it pulled up. Let me find it. Okay. Under the Summer. Let's see, guys, if I can get this pulled up. There we go. All right, let me see if I can do this right. Oh, can you hear it, Ruby? Can you hear that, Ruby? Here, let me go ahead and screen share.
Our stability. This means it's as stable as platforms like YouTube Live, but with all
This is beautiful. This is from Josh at the lab.
What were the final moments like? You may not be dead, but no matter what, life as you know it has changed. You have parents, brothers, friends. What do you have now? Strangers? A fate worse than that? Abusive strangers? Are you even still with us? Where are you, Summer? If you're alive, are you safe? If you're alive, are you in danger? If you were dead, how and who did it? You aren't with your family, the family you knew. Sure, living conditions may not be ideal, but you knew it was home. You knew your mom and dad. And we don't get to choose who our parents are. The universe just manifested a lottery of life. There's a lot of people looking for you. There's a lot of people talking about you. Some true, some not. It's hard to tell. But you didn't deserve this. No child deserves this. Whatever this is, you don't deserve it. Sometimes the people we count on to protect us do the most harm. Sometimes it's physically, sometimes it's mentally, sometimes it's both. And sometimes there are strangers that we come into contact with that want to do us harm. Oftentimes our guardians and protectors expose us to situations and people that want to do us harm. And our protectors are flawed humans. But at 5, it's hard for you to tell. Sometimes they put their needs and interests above their children's. They don't always mean to, they just can't help themselves. It's how they were raised, and it might not have been in them to change that. Sometimes I think about the short existence that some people face in this world, wondering, how was life as they knew it? 5 years old and you vanish off the face of the earth. You didn't do that on your own. You had help getting to wherever you are. Wherever that is, I hope it's safe, though I fear it's not. I don't know who did what to you, or where they put you, or how they left you, but somebody did it. And it will be fall soon, and the leaves will start to turn colors, will start to get a little colder out. Pretty soon you'll be able to smell the chimney smoke from the distant houses. And most of us will go on with our lives running the rat race in hopes that one day we'll get a notification or a text saying they found you. I hope that day comes. We want closure. We want to know what happened. And we want to see justice served. If you are alive, crimes in your name have been committed and people should pay. It's a tough world out there, but I'm afraid you may already, at the tender age of 5, learn that life lesson far before you were supposed to. I don't even know you personally, but I know a lot of kids just like you. Innocent, doe-eyed kids who like to get dirty and run around and be loud. That's all any of us ever wanted to do as kids. Annoy our parents, cuddle with them when we are scared in hopes that they will tell us everything would be okay. There's a lot of people here that wish they could tell you everything is going to be okay. My grandpa used to say, we got to do better. Even when we're doing good, he says, we still got to get better. I think what he meant is we got to do better for our kids, for our family, for ourselves. Because if we can't be better for us, how are we going to be better for you kids? Our hope is your disappearance was not in vain, that maybe some light can be found in this. It takes something major to break the cycle of abuse in families. Hopefully this is what breaks the cycle, so the next couple of generations can live a good, healthy life. It's not fair that you had to be the catalyst for this. Nevertheless, you are a hero, whether you know it or not. Kids go missing all the time. Some make it back home, some never do. Who decides? I will never know. Just know you didn't deserve this, whatever this is. And I hope that justice will be served. Whoever did this.
Sorry. Josh, I hope you don't mind that I shared that. Thank you for that. All right, everybody have a good night. Peace out, and I'll see you next time.